Okay, so good evening, everyone. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Friday, and I don't take it for granted that this meeting on a Friday. So, Sharon, it's a shocker you have attended this punctually, so I appreciate it. And we kickstart today's meeting. I only have 30 minutes to go. So hopefully you listen to me. It is recorded, so you'll also interact with it afterwards. And we have to deal with the agendas that we have set forth for today. So agenda number one was to check on whatever we discussed yesterday. Na nakumbuka poa, I told you guys that nitatumia some protocols, and only 2 people asked, so I sent them individually. Ni hata kuna msi hata kwa group ameulizia any of the protocols and the laws that are required. So I hope that you improve on that. So we have to start with the first agenda, checking on yesterday. It is clear that from yesterday's we should be privy at least to the facts that we had in the question for TransBlend as well as the one for tea export, and that we learned a thing or two about them and what they required. So that is done and dusted. Tafadhalini, I will not ask you whether you've created time to read the question or not, but hopefully, I do hope that you actually take your own time to go and read the question. Make sure you understand it, because that is the most essential thing in any moot. So mediation is like any other moot, only that it is slightly better and it has more it is more free compared to how the other moots councils are expected to handle themselves. I'm looking for the agenda in my paper and I can't see it, so just a minute. Okay, it seems that I can't find them, but we'll go on regardless. So we kickstart. I hope that you have interacted with the question, and I hope that if you have any question, you can ask me. You can call me either through WhatsApp or through the normal phone calls. So for TransBlend and for tea export, it was adamant that you have to know that tea export grows their things in the high altitude areas in Kenya, while tea export is one of their big customers, and they went a loss of when the cyclone Idai hit them, they went a loss of 150,000 kgs of the East Peak product that they were producing, and that they intended to sell to the seven blenders. So take cognizance of that and make sure so on to the second agenda, I want to look at it. The second agenda is identifying interests versus positions. So there must be interests. Whenever you're mediating, there must be interests. So number one, before we even go to that, I'd like to tell you guys on the 3 P's of mooting: professionalism, preparedness, as well as persuasiveness. Those are the most essential things that you require whenever you are mooting. You need to have those 3. You must act professionally, you must have prepared enough, and you must be persuasive to whoever you're talking to. So professionalism is a question of your conduct and how you conduct yourselves before the judges and even amongst your fellow councils, because how you treat your fellow council determines on how you are as an advocate or as a person. How you treat them is also key to the judges. So you must ensure that you have that professionalism amongst yourselves. So in identifying interests, we have two parties. That is the mediator. We have three parties. That is the mediator, the claiming party, as well as the responding party. So for the claiming party, your interest is, for example, you can say that you want, number one, a compensation for 65 million shillings, and that number two, you want to release a formula. You want the responding party to release a formula for your, you want the responding party to release a formula for your own. Sorry, I'm admitting some people. To release a formula for your own, so that you may also be able to ensure that your company is moving. So when you identify interests, it is key that you look into some certain aspects in the moot problem, and you must be adamant that you need the 27,000 kilograms of East Peak as per your contract timeline, and you must ensure that under all circumstances you need the said 27,000 kilograms of the product that T-Export is making. So the interests must include financial interests, relational interests, as well as emotional ones, and strategic needs. So you must recover non-transferable investments, as well as the promotions that you are doing when actually intending to buy these products and supply them to your local retailers. So to your local to the local people that will be selling them. So you have to ensure that that promotion money is also earned. So I mnastik sana kwa do as well, and you're also sticking to the formula as a way of an interest that you are aware of. That is when if they can't compensate you, because you should be understanding that the responding party will have difficulties in compensating you, because they themselves are at a standstill and they might even face liquidation. So positions, identifying this interest, they mask opportunities for mutual gains. So in this mood, T-Export's position should that of postponing shipments for equity among all 7 blenders. The other 7, the one that they want to postpone these shipments should also be an interest to their own, because this stems from interests like protecting blending confidentiality, so as to delay copycats for the 18-month grace period that was established, and it also ensures long-term viability that is due to the fact that they want to fight the floods recovery. So whenever you are identifying this interest, you must look into things such as you must self-reflect first. Whichever party that you are on, you need to ask yourself questions like, why is this demand so important? Why is it that we want 40 million for the projected from the projected 400,000 kg sales that we were to be sold at 1,200 shillings? Why is it that you want 40 million, and why is it that you are also asking for an extra 25 million shillings? So those are the questions that you should be asking yourselves whenever you are the claiming party. So when you self-reflect this, you look at yourself, you must also be empathetic to the other party. So you must assume the other party's perspective. You must identify TransBlend's interests in recognition as a key partner. So it is very important that you recognize that TransBlend is a key partner to you. So mkienda hapo msiende kubishana, because without TransBlend, then there is no T-Export. T-Export loses its market in Tanzania, which is not good for the East African trade, for the East African tea trade as members of the East African community. So what you must also ensure, I must admit some people. Dogo was just admitting some people had forgotten to submit some. Okay, so what you must also, as I was saying, that you must act empathetically, and you must be sure that you look into the other party's perspective. So you must also ask yourselves questions such as what businesses impacts would a delay have? For example, so if a delay, if the postponement that the export is needing, then the delay, they want this delay because number one, they want to protect their interests. They don't want to have any copycats in their formula, and they don't want their product to go to the market before they have actually, let's say, made their profits. So you must look into consideration this. So, and on the other side, you must also, whenever you are thinking as the export, you must also put yourselves in the shoes of Transblend Company Limited, and also ask yourself, then what will this delay impact also to Transblend? Transblend will face shortages of workers, because it will face unemployment, so it will face also risks of being sued by the employees because they have failed to pay them. It will also face risks of closure because they can't operate their daily activities, so they might also end up in liquidation. So these are the things that you should take cognizant of. So you must have your checklist category. So from the question, you can see that Transblend wants an interest at 10%. That is as per the Law of Contract Act. For damages and compensation, and you must also look at those are your financial interests. You must also take into consideration your relational interests to preserve the long-lasting business partnership that you've been having with the two parties, with the other party, that is either the claiming party or the responding party, and you must well as look to protect your own reputation and your own brand. So you will not want to share your formula to protect your own brand, and you must also ensure that there is confidentiality amongst yourselves. So those are the interests that you should look for whenever you're actually dealing with this moot problem. So we had a mediation graduation last week. I am not that privy for you guys that have been participating in the interclasses. I am not that privy to the guys that graduated the mediation. The mediation course that is offered by your school, but I think we can, if possible, I'll try and talk to our coordinator and see that if we can actually have one or two guys who are present, who are certified, it's called them certified mediators, who can actually conduct a proper training in as far as mediation is concerned. So in your application to the moot problem, you must analyze how the flood was, how the flood can be force majeure. So yesterday I told you guys to look at as whether force majeure is actually something that must be incorporated in a contract for it to be used as a defense. So I hope that you have gotten the answer to that up to date, because as of now I'm not saying the answer to that, but you should be looking into that, whether force majeure can be used as a defense if it is not incorporated in a contract. So kindly look into that. So now onto our third agenda, we'll be looking at caucusing techniques as well as ethics. So a caucus, I'd also told you what to check into what a caucus is yesterday. I hope that you did. So a caucus is a private confidential meeting between the mediator and one party or their representatives during a mediation. So it is usually separate from the joint sessions that the claiming party and the responding party has. it is essentially very fundamental so as to ensure that you are breaking deadlocks, you are building trust, and you can also, it is also a way where you can explore sensitive information without the other side being present. So a good example that I'd seen a caucus happen was during the USIU Lady Justice Oluoch moot, where you'd see that during a caucus, a party is going to the mediator and it is strictly confidential. There's no information that will go to the other party, and this party had said that right now we are under a very difficult situation because our employees are striking even outside our doors. They are striking there na wanalala huko usiku mzima. So those are the confidential informations, the sensitive ones that you might share to the mediator as per the NCIA rules for a caucus. So you should use this especially after joint openings. If emotions run high or positions harden. So unaweza tumia caucus, for example, ukiona mna disagree sana with the other party, you can request voluntarily to speak to the mediator alone at least, and then the other party will also speak to the mediator alone, and then afterwards then you will all return to the session and will continue to do the mediation process. So whenever emotions run high or positions harden, this is what you can do. Tunaona jamaa anashinda akisema yeye lazima apate 65 million shillings yake na ataki kusikia your other side of the story. You can also invoke a mediator. So the process is that the mediator usually sets ground rules at the start. You can decide on having separate rooms for you to actually use. Let me add some guys for you to actually use the caucus, or he or she can also decide that you just have a joint meet and greet amongst yourselves so that you might vent your frustrations, or you might share confidential information, but they won't go beyond the walls where the mediation will be taking place. So there's also this thing that is usually referred to as shuttle diplomacy, where mediator shuttles between rooms, conveying proposals to encourage concessions. Mnaweza kuwa mko in different rooms throughout the caucus, na mediator kuje aongee na wewe, akiongea na wewe aende ajaribu apatie proposal fulani to the other party and see if you guys can come to a consensus in a particular issue ama in a particular interest that you guys have. And it is also used as a means of discussing formula disclosures ethically without breaching confidentiality. So you can also use this at the time. So whatever is required, the ethics that are required during this juncture of the caucus is that the mediator must be impartial and he or she must be neutral. You must not pick a side under any circumstance, and you must not give a proposal that is favoring only one party at the peril of the other one. The other one are the obvious mediation principles. It must be confidential, and it must be done in good faith. So avoid coercion or misleading the parties under any circumstances. You must disguise the scenarios like handling bad faith. For example, transblend inflating losses. You can address on that. The transblend is also at risk of losing money. It has already spent 40 million shillings in preparation. So once that is done, the next step that I told you earlier on was on settlement, where a mediator can choose to settle the dispute. Normally it's usually done through a settlement agreement. I think a memorandum of understanding, not so sure, that is open to correction. Or it can also lead to termination. So whenever this happens, So it can lead to a termination. So whenever this happens, sorry, someone is giving me apologies. You can choose to settle the dispute. You must prioritize your interest, the interest of the parties as the mediator, and you must use techniques like mind mapping options, where you can also consider partial delivery, not necessarily that the 27,000 kgs least product can be produced at a go, can actually reduce the delivery that we were intending to deliver per month na tuzipeane mdogo mdogo. So you must define the ideal outcomes whenever you're settling the full minimum supply that is required. Let's say you've agreed that we'll be sending 1,500 kgs of the East Peak product per month, then ensure that there is an agreement on both ends. And you must also expand the pie. For example, you look at revenue sharing, you look at joint promotions post the floods, because now we had the flood and it was only TransBlend that was promoting. You can also take into consideration that T-Export also channels its resources in the promotion of their own product as well in Tanzania, because Tanzania is the market that TransBlend is located at. So other than that, I'd say that we are done with the agenda for settlement. So I'd like us to focus on the issue of looking as to whether we actually have our teams in place. So I understand today is on a Friday. Maybe you guys are not entirely in. So whatever the meeting we had today is quite less than that which we have been having the previous day. So I'd encourage us to ensure that tuko na teams zetu. I'd like to know, kuna mtu mwenye ako kwa hii group na bado hana team, kindly raise your hand. Kuna mtu ako kwa hii meeting na hana team. Is there anyone in this meeting without a team? So we have Shalin Nyambura, and we also have Shalin Nyambura. We have Nyawira Kinywa. Let me write down your names. Echwa Cherono. And Shalin. So I'd like you guys to say, yeah, you're in. So Perpetua 2025 A ama B, unasema uko A ama B? Perpetua, are you in class A or class B? Sorry, I can't hear you. Sorry, I can't hear you.
Class A.
A or B?
A.
And Nyawira? Kinywa. Kinywa A. Shalin. Shalin A as well. Okay. So I think we already have a mediator here, and we already have a team. So Perpetua, Shalin, and Nyawira, amongst the three of you, sitawatafutia boys because I'm for woman empowerment. So amongst the three of you, kindly, Alexia, you have a team. I can see Alexia's hand is up. Alexia.
Yes.
Do you have a team? Which class?
A.
Okay, then I think we have two teams. I think amongst yourselves, Nyawira, Perpetua, Nyambura na Alexia, you guys will just text me, mniambie mmechaguana aje. Iko sawa? We need two teams from the four of you.
Oh my goodness.
What's up? What's up? Mnaweza chaguana hapo ama ni haiwezi amongst yourselves.
Don't know each other.
Oh, that is interesting. I also don't know the four of you, so I don't know if I'm in a position to help. Okay, so I think that ama mimi ndio niwapange.
Like you can give us your number or something. We can start from there.
Okay, so my number is in the WhatsApp group. I sent the email there. So mnaweza ni text hapo kwa the WhatsApp group. I look for teams zenyu, and then I look for how unaweza wapanga the four of you. Sijui hamtaki kumutu madem peke yake. If possible, kama unataka kumutu na boy useme, and then tutapangana. But I think if you guys are present and you're paying attention, amfai kuogopana. All of you are. I think you can do something kuendelea next week. Is that okay? Okay, so the allocation of team codes now, because that you don't have a team, we must hizi vitu tunafaa kumaliza as early as now, ndio nyinyi mkianza next week ikuwe mko sawa. So I'd want to send a PDF. I said yesterday you send PDFs for the East African Treaty and the protocol for mediation in the East African community, and only one person asked for it. Only 2 people asked for it, and I sent them to the inboxes. And hakuna mse yote kwa group aliulizia, so I didn't send it. So right now I am saying I will send the team codes to you. We have like more than 15 teams. I send the team codes to you, and I hope that I will follow up. Now for any questions, mniulize. So saizi mnanidai the protocol for the mediation protocol and the ADR protocol for East African community. Mnanidai pia team codes. Na kuna PDFs 3 nataka kuwatumia, 2 sorry, nataka kuwatumia. I want to send you the do's and don'ts of a mediator, and also the do's and don'ts of a client representative and a counsel. So I hope hizo mtaulizia hopefully. So right now I think we have done it in ample time. Not unless there's any questions that you guys have to ask, we can call it a night. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Okay. Saweni magenius. So tupatane kesho same time to make sure at least kesho mkiwa na swali yote mniulize, ukiwa na swali yote call me or text me, I'll answer. Yeah, so tupatane kesho same time at 8 p.m. So otherwise have a lovely night and have a good weekend. The session is done. Thank you so much.
Genius.